Audio Bookshelf presents Ashley Bryan.
Sing to the sun. It will listen and warm your words. Your joy will rise like the sun and glow within you. Sing to the moon. It will hear and soothe your cares. Your fears will set like the moon and fade within you. Rain coming. When a mermaid winks, a look for a shower, children at the seashore splashing by the hour, see rain coming, soaked as they can get, cry, quick, duck under, so you don't get wet. Vine leaves. The farmer built firm frames for vines to climb. Now, a morning assembly of vine leaves boogies on down the upright, uptight trellis. The hurricane. I cried to the wind, "Don't blow so hard! You've knocked down my sister. You're shaking and tossing and tilting the tree." And would the wind listen to me? The wind howled, hooray! I blow as I wish, I wish, I wish. I crush and I splash and I rush and I swish. I cried to the wind, "Don't blow so wild! You're chasing the clouds. You're whirling and swishing and swirling the sea." And would the wind listen to me? The wind howled, hooray! I blow as I wish, I wish, I wish. I'm bold and I'm brash. I'm cold and I'm rash. I said to my friends, "Please call out with me, 'Stop, wind, stop! Stop, wind, stop!'" Ah, now the wind listens. It brushes my hair, chases clouds slowly, sings in my ear, hooray, hooray, stretches out gently under the tree, soothes little sister, and quiets the sea. Anansi the spider in search of a fool. We do not really mean that what we're going to say is true. Hear my account of Spider Anansi and the fish traps. Spider Anansi once lived by the sea. There were plenty of fish in those waters. Yes, there were fish to be caught for those who had traps made and set. But Anansi was not one to be working like that. "I'd like to catch and sell fish," he thought, "the regular type and the shellfish too. But if I'm to do that, I must hire a fool. to make, set, and pull the traps. Spider was sure he'd have no trouble finding a fool. Once he did, he planned to make great catches of fish, which he'd sell in the market for cash. He would keep all the money for himself and grow rich in the fish business. I'll pay the fool a few regular fish and maybe even some shellfish, he told himself. But as for money, of course, the fool will get none. So Spider Anansi set out to find a fool. He walked about the fishing village calling, "I want a fool! I want a fool!" He saw a woman cooking. "I am looking for a fool," he said. "Oh, fool!" she said, mocking him and shaking her wooden spoon. Spider ran off to the shore, where on the beach he saw a busy fisherman. "I am looking for a fool," said Spider. "A pool?" asked the fisherman. "No, a fool," said Spider. "A tool?" asked the fisherman. "A fool! A fool!" howled Spider as he hurried off. "A fool indeed!" he muttered, "but deaf!" And everywhere Anansi looked, it was the same. No one listened to him. Nowhere could a fool be found. After a long time, Anansi met Osana the hawk. This time, Anansi began in a new way. "Come," he said, "let's go and set fish traps." But Osana had heard that Anansi was hunting a fool to go fishing. So he said, "Oh, I have no need to set fish traps. I have plenty of meat to eat." Later, Anansi met Anansi the crow. "Let us go and set fish traps," Anansi said. "Why not?" said Crow. "I'll go with you." "Wait here," said Spider, Anansi almost bursting with joy. "I won't be long." He ran home to get his knife. While Anansi was gone, Anansi the crow rested in the shade of a silk cotton tree. And when Hawk was sure that Spider was gone, he flew down. "Watch out for Anansi," Osana warned. "Don't go with him on this fish trap setting trip. He's looking for a fool. He wants someone else to do the work. But he plans to sell all the regular fish and the shellfish as well and keep all the cash from the catch for himself." "Baku," said Anansi the crow. "I did not know, but now I do. Thank you, Osana. Don't say any more. I will go with Anansi, and we shall see who does the work and who gets the money." Spider Anansi soon returned with his knife. He and Crow set out at once for the bush to cut palm branches for traps. When they came to a palm tree, Crow said to Spider, "Anansi, give me the knife. I will go cut the branches. You can sit here and take the weariness of my hard work." Spider replied, "Anansi, do you take me for a fool? No, I will do the cutting. You will sit aside and take the weariness of my work." So Anansi the spider did all the cutting, while Anansi the crow sat aside, sighing and yawning in weariness. When Anansi had finished cutting the palms, Anansi helped him tie them into a neat bundle. Then Crow said, "Anansi, let me carry the bundle. You can trek after me and take the aches and pains of this back-breaking work." "Oh, no," said Spider. "You must take me for a fool. Here, you help steady the load on my head. I will carry, and you can take the So Crow followed, sighing and yawning and groaning beautifully every step of the way, and Anansi carried. When they reached Spider's hut, Crow helped Spider set the load on the ground. "Now let me make the fish traps," said Crow. "Yes, let me. I'll show you how. You can take the fatigue of my labors." Spider replied, "Anansi, never! Everyone knows that I'm a great weaver. Leave the trap making to me. You take the fatigue." Crow chose the most comfortable mat in Spider's hut and stretched out on his back. There he lay, sighing and yawning and groaning and bawling more woefully than ever. "Fool," said Spider, "have you no sense? Just listen to your moaning. It sounds as if you were dying." Spider Anansi began to spin. He spun and he wove and he made palm mesh for the fish traps. He worked till they were well made and ready to be set. "Let me carry the fish traps to the water," said Crow. "It's your turn to take the tiredness of all this trap making." Spider said, "No, no, Anansi! None of your tricks! I'll take the traps, and you can take the tiredness of the task." They set out for the shore. Spider walked carefully, balancing the traps. Crow staggered behind, sighing and yawning and groaning and bawling all the way. At the beach, Crow said, "Father Spider, a beast lives in the sea. Let me stand in the water and set the fish traps. If the beast should bite me, then you can take the death." Spider said, "Anansi, I swear that is not a bit fair. I shall set the traps. If the beast bites me, then you shall die." So Spider and Anansi toiled in the sea, setting the fish traps. No beast bit, and Anansi watched comfortably. Then the two returned to Spider's hut and slept. The next morning they arose at dawn and hurried down to the sea. They opened the traps and found 2 fish as their catch. Crow said, "Anansi, these 2 fish are for you. Tomorrow, when the traps have caught 4, it will be my turn to take them." Spider exclaimed, "What a cheat you are! Do you take me for a fool? No, sir. These 2 are yours. Tomorrow I'll take the 4. Anansi the Crow took the fish and cooked them. He made a fine dish of fufu and fish and ate it all himself. The next day, Spider and Crow examined the traps and found 4 fish. Crow said, "Anansi, these 4 fish are yours. I'll take the next batch, whatever the catch. With this bait, we're bound to get 8. Spider said, "I'm no fool. I withdraw my claim to these 4. You take these, and tomorrow I'll have the 8. Crow took the fish and fried the 4. He made a fine dish of fufu and fried fish and ate it all himself. The next day, when they inspected the traps, Spider counted 8 fish as their catch. "Take them, Anansi," said Crow. "I'll go back to the hut and wait for tomorrow's catch of 16. Spider said, "I am no fool, Anansi. You take the 8 fish. I'll have tomorrow's 16. Crow took the fish and baked the 8. He made a fine dish of fufu and baked fish and ate it all himself. The next morning, 16 fish were caught in the traps, and by now the fish traps were well worn out. Anansi the crow said, "Anansi, these fish traps are rotten. They will not catch fish any longer. But each trap will fetch a price in the marketplace. You take the 16 fish and give me the rotten fish traps to sell." "Oh, no," said Spider. "You take the fish and sell them if you can. I shall sell the rotten fish traps and keep the cash." Crow picked up the 16 fish, and Spider picked up his rotten fish traps. Together they went to the nearby village market. A crowd soon surrounded Crow. People bargained and bid and bought his fish. In no time at all, he had sold the 16. If he had had more, he would have sold more. But he did well just the same, for he had a great mound of gold dust in his feathered purse. When the crowd broke up, Spider Anansi still sat with his unsold traps. Crow said to him, "Don't just sit there with your wares. Take up those perfectly rotten fish traps and let people discover that you have them. Walk around and talk about your treasured traps. Cry out. Let the villagers hear your voice. Make a loud noise. Don't think you can sell by sitting in silence." Crow's fiery speech so inspired Spider that he leaped to his feet, lifted his traps, and sang out in a burst of pride and enthusiasm, "Rotten fish traps for sale, rare, bedraggled, and old. Treat your son and yourself. Pay in cowries or gold." The village chief was astonished to hear such a ridiculous cry from the marketplace. Never before had his people been so insulted by a stranger. "But where does this fellow come from?" he asked. "Send him to me." Spider Anansi went quickly at the call, calculating a sale in cowries and gold. He was still busy making these calculations when the chief thundered, "Do you suppose this is a village of fools?" Spider trembled. "Your friend Crow came and sold fine fish for a good profit. Did you sit by and not take notice? Then why do you seek to dispose of your useless rotten fish traps among us?" The chief was so angry that he called his men and said, "Flog him!" Spider Anansi tried to flee, but he tripped over the loose palm strips of his rotten fish traps. As he flailed about to free himself, he became more entangled in the mesh until he was caught like a fish in his own fish traps. As the blows drummed on Spider's back, he cried, "Pooey, pooey, pooey, pooey. Why do they beat poor me?" Tears of pain flowed from Anansi's eyes. Then suddenly they became tears of shame. For at last, Spider Anansi realized that when one seeks to make a fool of another, he is bound to make a bigger fool of himself. This is my story. Whether it be bitter or whether it be sweet, take some of it elsewhere and let the rest come back to me. village voices. No drums, no steel band tonight. Voices of the village out singing all instruments. Like roots singing through tree trunks, voices branch out to leaves of melody. It is as if earth sings, trees sing, sky sings. It is as if in all the singing, this small island washed in ocean blues swims away. Storyteller. Emerald grew up in flowers. Hibiscus, poinsettia, bougainvillea. Birds pieced her stories together with song. She sheltered under stories. Tropical rains, lightning, war of thunder couldn't disturb her. Later, she told stories to grandchildren, backed by Gabriel's horn. Her words skirted thorns, winged, agile as bird song, dazzling as jazz. Big questions. Jawara asks big questions like, does a baby think in words before it can talk? He knows he's always been here, he and his sister Ashaki. He wonders about mothers and fathers and children. He asks, Dad, before you and Mom got married, did me and my sister live together all alone by ourselves? Taste the air. My little brother's legs are springs, the way he bounces. No walk step in him. He jumps, tastes air, laughs. He goes after goats, prancing over the wall into the garden. How those goats worry the hibiscus. They find it delicious. Little brother leaps. Pum-pa-lum, he shouts. I laugh at the sight. See them there. Goats, hibiscus, by dancing. The cat's purr. Oh, once upon a time, cat and rat were the best of friends. They really were. They lived in huts right next to each other, and since rat liked to copy cat, their huts matched. Cat planted a coconut palm tree by his hut. Rat planted one, too. Cat wove a straw mat for the corner of his hut. Rat wove one, too. When a rat visited cat, he'd sit on cat's mat. And on visits to rat, cat sat on rat's mat. Cat made a bamboo flute and played sweet tunes. Let me play a tune too, said rat. Cat let rat play a tune too. Toodaloo, toodaloo. Cat and rat farmed their lands together. They worked in the field each day and took good care of their vegetable patch. After work, they headed home, each with his hoe. "When the vegetables are ready, let's have a big feast," said Cat one day. "A grand party with dancing and singing," said Rat. "Ah, ah, ah, ah." They laughed and talked of the feast as they walked along, singing "Ho for a feast and hi for a song." One night, Cat's old uncle visited and brought Cat a present. Cat unwrapped the package. There, inside, was a small drum. The smallest drum Cat had ever seen. "It's a cat drum," the old uncle said, "passed down in the family. Now it's just for you." "It's so small. Can I play it?" asked Cat. "Oh, yes," said Cat's uncle. "It's small, and there's a special way to play it. Don't rap it, or beat it, or poke it, or you won't get a good sound. Stroke it gently and listen." Cat stroked the drum gently. The drum went purrum, purrum. "Oh, meow," said Cat. "How soothing, how beautiful. Take good care of the drum," Cat's old uncle said as he was leaving. "Remember now, don't rap it, or beat it, or tap it, or poke it. Just stroke it gently, and don't let anyone else play it." The next morning, Rat called on Cat as he always did on the way to work in the fields. He tapped on Cat's hut door. Rap-a-tappa, tappa, rap-a-tappa, tappa. Purrum, purrum, purrum came the sound from inside Cat's hut. Rat had never heard such music before. He opened Cat's door and went in. There sat Cat on his bed, playing a small drum. "Patappa-pat!" cried Rat. "What a big, sweet sound! And from such a small drum! It's so small you could swallow it whole. Squeak, squeak! Play it, Cat! Ah, ah! Purrum, 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 played Cat. Purrum, purrum, purrum. Rat twirled about. He hummed and kicked up his feet to the purrum-purrum beat until Cat stopped drumming. "Me now!" Rat cried. "Oh, no!" said Cat. "Meow! This is a cat family drum from my uncle." "Patappa-pat!" said Rat. "So what? I made my hut like yours. Squeak, squeak! I played in the shade of your coconut tree. I sat on your mat, drank coconut milk, too. I played your flute. Toodaloo, toodaloo." "That was different, Rat," Cat said. "My uncle said no one else plays this cat drum. Anyway, this is not a time for drumming. Let's get to work in the fields." Cat set the drum down on the bed. I must think of a good plan so that I can play Cat's drum, Rat thought. I'll need time to think. I'm hungry, Rat said. Squeak! If I'm to work in the fields, I've got to eat food first. I'll faint if I go without breakfast. Cat cooked cornmeal mush and served Rat. Rat ate, but he couldn't keep his eyes off the drum. It still sang in his ears. Purr-rum, purr-rum. His fingers itched to play it. Rat ate slowly, bowl after bowl of cornmeal mush. Still, not one good drum-playing plan popped into his head. He dawdled so long over the breakfast that it was tea time when he finished. His stomach was as tight as a drum. It's tea time, Rat said. Squeak! And I'm still hungry. We'll work better after tea. Cat, don't you agree? Meow! I'm not hungry now, said Cat. How can you still be hungry after swallowing so much mush? It just wasn't enough mush, I guess, said Rat. Oh, meow, said Cat, and he served Rat the tea. Now, don't get sick. Remember, we have lots of work to do for our feast. Sick? Rat thought. That's it! Cat had given Rat the idea he needed. Now he knew just what to do. Patapalapat! Rat cried as he pushed aside his cup and plate. I'm full now and ready for work. Squeak! Pitapalapo! Cat cried. Here's your hole. Meow! Let's go! Rat was almost to the door when he moaned and fell to the ground. He turned and tossed at Cat's feet. Oh! Rat groaned. My belly's hurting me too bad. Squeak! Squeak! I knew you'd be sick, Cat said. Cat helped Rat to his feet. Ah, poor Rat! Don't lie on the floor. Come, lie on my bed. Ooh, thank you. Squeak, squeak. Ooh. Cat put Rat to bed and spread a coverlet over him. Rest, said Cat. When your belly is cool, come and help me till the fields. I will come. Oh, when I'm well. We two do work so well together. Oh, oh. Though Rat wailed well, he was not ill at all. He stretched out on Cat's bed till his toes touched the drum. His plan was working, and he felt happy. Cat left Rat to rest and set out for their vegetable patch. Rat waited until he was sure that Cat had reached the field. Then Rat threw off the coverlet, sat up, and began to sing. Patapalapat! Patapalaping! Eat off Cat's food and don't pay a thing! Rat reached for Cat's drum and hugged it. I'd rather hug a drum than do humdrum hoeing, Rat laughed. Now it's my turn to play Cat's drum. Rat had danced while Cat drummed, so he had not learned Cat's secret of how best to beat it. Rat tapped the drum. No purrum. Rat beat the drum. No purrum. He poked it. No, no, no purrum. Instead of hugging Cat's drum now, Rat was so mad he could have pounded it. But by chance, he stroked it, and there it was. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. "Patappa-bat!" cried Rat. "What a thing, this drum! Rap it, tap it, beat it, poke it. No loud, sweet purr-rum. But when you stroke it, purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum." Far off in the field, Cat heard the sound. It was his drum. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. He dropped his hoe and ran toward his hut. Rat saw Cat coming across the field. Quickly, he replaced the drum at the foot of the bed. He stretched out and drew the coverlet up to his chin. He closed his eyes and pretended to be asleep. Cat ran into the room, shook Rat awake, and shouted, "Pit-tappa-la-pat! Pit-tappa-la-pum! Who's that knocking on my drum?" "I fell asleep," said Rat. "I didn't hear a thing. Squeak! Oh, oh, my belly's hurting me too bad." "You mean your belly's not cool yet, Rat?" Cat asked. "Well, lie down, but keep your eyes open." "I will do as well as I can, Cat, even though I'm ill." Cat set out alone to till the fields, and Rat could hardly wait to play the drum again. When Cat was well out of sight, he sat up in bed and sang, "Patappa-la-pat! Patappa-la-ping! Eat off Cat's food and don't pay a thing." Rat shook with excitement when he took up the drum. First he hugged it, then he stroked it more lightly than before. An even louder purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum came from the drum. As Cat hoed a row of vegetables, he heard purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. At once he dropped his hoe and headed for home. Rat was again in bed and under the coverlet when Cat ran in. Cat shook Rat and cried, "Pit-tappa-la-pat! Pit-tappa-la-pum! Who's that knocking on my drum?" "You make my belly ache more when you shake me up so," said Rat. "Oh, oh, my belly's hurting me too bad. I didn't hear a thing." "But, Rat, I tell you, someone is knocking on my drum. I hear it in the field. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. Come now, help me, Rat." "How can I?" said Rat. "I'm lying down and my belly is hurting me." "Stay in bed till your belly's cool, but keep your eyes open. Find out who's knocking on my drum and tell me." Cat left and closed the door. This time, though, Cat didn't go far along the path to the field. He doubled back, ducked down, and crept to the side of the hut. There he climbed in through the kitchen window and hid under the table. When Rat thought that Cat was far out of sight, he sat right up in bed. "What's this?" Cat asked himself. "Maybe Rat's belly is cool now." He watched Rat from the hiding place under the table. He saw Rat take up the drum. Cat did not move. Rat began to sing. "I fooled Cat once." Cat kept quiet. "I fooled Cat twice." Cat blinked his eyes. "I play Cat's drum." Cat's ears twitched. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. "Drop that drum, Rat!" cried Cat. "I've caught you at it. Meow!" "You haven't caught me yet," cried Rat. Rat dodged and scampered down as Cat leaped onto the bed. So Cat jumped off the bed and trapped Rat in the corner. All Rat saw was Cat's wide open mouth and Cat's very sharp teeth. And that gave Rat a new idea. As Cat flung himself at Rat, Rat plunged the drum into Cat's open mouth and fled. Cat fell against the bed. He gulped and swallowed. Down went the drum. To his surprise, Cat realized that instead of swallowing Rat, he had swallowed his drum. Cat stroked his stomach to settle the drum. A muffled sound came from within. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. Rat ran out of Cat's hut and past his own. He didn't stop to pack a thing. He kept on going and he didn't look back. By the time Cat finally ran out of doors, Rat was long gone. "That's that for our vegetable feast," Cat cried. "If I ever catch that rat, I'll feast on him. Meow!" Since that day, Cat carries his drum safely within. You can't fool Cat anymore with belly cool this and belly cool that. Cat always knows now who's playing his drum, because Cat alone chooses whom he'll let play. If you're kind to Cat, he'll let you play his drum. Remember though, don't tap it or beat it. Don't rap it or poke it. Just stroke Cat gently, very, very gently. Listen now. Can you hear Cat purring? Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. That's Cat's drum. Purr-rum, purr-rum, purr-rum. The Blackbird's Party. Birds like to party. I party too, but not the way the blackbirds do. Why all the fuss? They party like us. Oh, blackbirds flap. They strut and peck. A right claw forward, a left claw back. How many in all? Having a ball. 10 in the pool, 6 on the grass, cawing so cool like a birdland jazz. School of fish, pool as a dish, 5 a dive under to fish and sup. Smack their beaks when they come up. So many to treat, what else did they eat? After the fish ate worms for a snack. Right claw forward, a left claw back. Good Flower Blues. Pretty flowers blooming, got flowers on my mind. I see pretty flowers blooming, gorgeous flowers on my mind. When I looks out and sees 'em, thanks God that I ain't blind. My children went and picked 'em, put those flowers in a bowl. Lord, my little children picked them, put those flowers in a bowl. I'll feed my little children, 'cause they knows what feeds my soul. Grape pickers. Grape pickers singing by a frangipani tree filled their pots and bellies, but they wouldn't fill me. Sang when they were merry, but when they were glum, they wouldn't give a grape away. You wouldn't ever hear them say, "Dog, have a bite," or "Cat, have some." Sweet talk. Maribel was dark as cloves, Marigold cocoa brown. One morning early, both arose and tiptoed into town. Maribel was dressed in green, Marigold wore yellow. Each took time in town to woo a tantalizing fellow. Their fellows were red-headed flowers, fit, fine, and full of fun. Maribel picked two to woo, Marigold picked one. They swept those fellows off their roots with sweet talk, dance, and song. Would you have picked those flowers too if you had gone along? Granny. Granny had a way with fruit trees. Hear me now. She mixed fruit slices in her dough and knew just how. When she wasn't busy in her kitchen baking bread, she balanced baskets with her produce on her head. She filled her baskets with her fruit bread, took her time, put pawpaw, mango, pomegranate, guava, and lime. She sauntered to the village market, easy pace. She stepped out better than a queen, had more grace. But she'd sass you if you vexed her, man. Oh, what I found. No car could move her out the road, stood her ground. She'd turn and shake a fist and shout, "Want a lickin'? Mash me down, nah, you think me name a chicken?" Do good. A donkey want water, birdies want a food. Somebody ought to do them good. Birdies got a mama, papa on the go. Bring them food and water, feed them too. A donkey tied proper, he holler, he bawl. No mama, no papa to feed him at all. Turtle knows your name. Once there was a little boy, and he had a very long name. His name was Upsilimana Tumpalarado. It was easy to pronounce. Up, silly, mana, Larado. But it was hard to remember. His grandmother raised him in her village by the sea. She taught him to walk. She taught him to talk. But teaching him to walk and to talk wasn't the same as teaching him to say his name. That took time, and Granny took her time. She said his name to him slowly. Upsilimana Tumpalarado. Uppala-tumpalo, said the grandson. Said Granny, shaking her head from side to side. She didn't give up, though. "Turtle takes his time," she said. "I take mine, and you take your time, too." And he did. Then one day he said it. Upsilimana Tumpalarado. cried the grandmother. She was so happy. She hugged him once. She kissed him twice. She swung him around a wee 3 times. She shook his hand, then took his hand, and they ran down to the sandy beach. "Here's where we dance, your name dance," said Granny. "Sing your name aloud and clear. Sing it to me, sing it to the sea." Granny clapped as they danced. Her grandson sang, "Up, silly manna, Tumpelarado, that's my name. I took my time to learn it. Won't you do the same?" Turtle, who lived nearby, heard the singing and swam closer. The villagers always came to the shore to sing and dance their children's names. Turtle loved to gather names, and he never missed a name dance. Turtle was older than anyone could tell. He even remembered Granny's name dance when Granny, as a little girl, danced with her Granny on the shore. Turtle raised his head above the water and listened. "Up, silly manna, Tumpelarado, that's my name," sang the boy again and again. "A long name," said Turtle, "but a good song name to dance to. I think I've got it." Turtle flipped and dove to the bottom of the sea. In his coral home, Turtle smoothed the space and spelled the name with shells. He blinked and said, "Upsillimana Tumpelarado. I know it well." Now that her grandson knew it well, too, Granny let him go out alone to play in the village. Each time he set out to play, she'd say, "Upsillimana Tumpelarado, teach your name to your playmates and do your best. Remember, your name is long, but it's not the longest." Upsillimana Tumpelarado always had a good time playing with the village children. He learned their names quickly: Zamba, Mogans, Dandu, Brashi, and he remembered them. He taught them his name, too, but no one ever remembered it. "Ho, long name," they'd call. "Your turn to hide the stick." "My name is not Long Name," he'd say. "My name is Upsillimana Tumpelarado." "Uh-huh," they'd say. "But it's still your turn, Long Name." His name was always the longest. What then did Granny mean when she'd say, "Your name is long, but it's not the longest"? One morning, Upsillimana Tumpelarado said, "Granny, I'm not going to be called Long Name today. I'm going to play with the animals." "Don't be late for dinner," said Granny. "I'm cooking fungi." "Fungi!" exclaimed the boy. "Uh-huh," said Granny. "If you're late, I might be tempted to eat all the fungi myself." "Uh-huh," said the boy. "I won't be late. You'll see. Bye, Granny. Twee, twa, twee." Off he went, whistling twee, twa, twee, twee, twa, twee. He came to a field and saw a donkey rubbing its hide against a tree. The boy sang, "Donkey, he! Donkey, oh! My name is Upslamana Templarado. Shall I call it out once more?" The donkey brayed, "Haw, haw," and rubbed its hide just as before. "Well, twee, twa, twee," whistled the boy, and he ran across the field. He clambered up on the rocks bordering the field. There he met a goat bounding from stone to stone. The boy sang, "Goat, ha! Goat, oh! My name is Upslamana Templarado. Say it loud, say it clear." The goat bleated, "Blear, blear, blear," and leaped as if it didn't care. "Well, twee, twa, twee," whistled the boy. He jumped from the rocks into the pasture near the seashore. There he saw a cow. The boy sang, "Cow, oh, cow, oh! My name is Upslamana Templarado. Say it, and I'll dance for you." The cow lowed, moo, 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 then mooed once more and stopped to chew. "Well, twee, twa, twee," whistled the boy. He spun around swiftly and bumped into a pig. "Oh, pardon, pig," he said. "My name is—" And he stopped short. I won't tell you my name. You'll do the same as the others." He ran past Pig in the pasture, past Paw and palm trees, till he came to the beach. He splashed in the sea, whistling, "Twee, twa, twee." Turtle heard the splashing. He swam up to the boy and said, "Upsilimana Templarado, I'm so glad you came. Upsilimana Templarado, Turtle knows your name." The boy slapped the water for joy. Splish, splash, splish, splash. "Turtle, oh, Turtle," he cried, "how did you know my name is Upsilimana Templarado?" Turtle didn't stay to play or answer questions. He dove under the waves and disappeared. The boy called and called till his stomach ached, but Turtle did not return. "I've yelled myself hoarse, hollow, and hungry," he said to himself. "The fungi! Oh, the fungi!" He ran as fast as he could go. He ran past Paw and palm trees, past Pig in the pasture, past Cow who gazed, grazed, and mooed, past Goat bounding high over the rocks. Blear, blear! Past Donkey in the field. Hee haw, hee haw. He ran into his house, crying, "Granny, Granny, please, I'm hungry. The fungi, the fungi." With her large wooden spoon, Granny was turning the cornmeal in the pot. She smiled at her grandson as she ladled some into a buttered bowl and shook it till it was round as a grapefruit. She rolled it onto her grandson's plate of fish. "Thank you, Granny." Fungi rolled in a bowl till it's round as a ball and as yellow as gold is the best of all. Sing it, said Granny. She hummed as she shook a bowl of fungi for herself. Fungi rolled in a bowl till it's round as a ball and as yellow as gold is the best of all. They finished eating the fungi and fish. Then Granny set a plate of bread pudding and a sweet potato pie on the table. He who asks, don't get. He who don't ask, don't want, said Granny. Granny always said that before offering dessert. She'd laugh as she watched the puzzled look on her grandson's face. Then she'd offer him a way out. Tell me a proverb, she'd say, and I'll give you dessert. A proverb? No problem, Upsalamana Tumplerado would say. He had learned lots of proverbs. He'd answer with, a man can't grow taller than his head. Or, you'll never catch a black cat at night. His favorite was, if a baboon wants to whistle, don't stop him. But this time, Granny didn't ask for a proverb. Instead, she said, tell me my name, Upsalamana Tumplerado. Oh, Granny, that's easier than a proverb, said the boy. Your name is Granny. He laughed and passed his plate. Said Granny. There are grannies all over the village. Every granny has a name. Tell me mine, or no dessert. Granny took a bite of her bread pudding. Upsalamana Tumplerado looked at Granny. She licked her lips and rolled her eyes. He looked longingly at the dessert. I will find out your real name, Granny, he said. Then I will have dessert too. Upsalamana Tumplerado jumped up from the table and ran off to the village. He stopped the villagers and asked, do you know my granny's name, or will you tell it to me plain? I won't get bread pudding or sweet potato pie until I tell her real name to her. Saying Granny just won't do her. The villagers circled him and sang, grass, plants, bees, bells, a sky, birds, seashells, guava, plantain, mango trees. Call them anything you please. They will always be the same, 'cause Granny is your granny's name. The villagers danced as they sang the song over and over. Drummers picked up the beat. For a while, Upsalamana Tumplerado forgot his question and danced quick steps to match the best of the dancers. Then he remembered. This won't get me dessert, he said to himself. He could hear the villagers still chanting, Granny is your granny's name. As he hurried away to the animals, he ran to the donkey. Haw, haw. Donkey wouldn't help him, didn't want to. Goat and cow were just the same, wouldn't help him with the name. Blear, blear, moo, moo. Perhaps Turtle would help. Turtle knew his name. Turtle had said his name before. He kept on running till he reached the shore. He called till Turtle swam up from his coral home at the bottom of the sea. Then the boy sang, Turtle, tell me Granny's name. Will you tell it to me plain? I won't get bread pudding or sweet potato pie until I tell her a real name to her, saying Granny just won't do her. Turtle listened to the sweet, sad song. Then Turtle sang, Upsillimana Tumplerado, Turtle knows your name. Gathering names is what I do. I know Granny's real name, too. Oh, teach me, Turtle, teach me, cried the boy. First, promise not to tell who told you, said Turtle. The boy promised, and Turtle taught him his Granny's name. Aha! So that's why Granny always says to me, your name is long, but it's not the longest. He thanked Turtle and ran home. Dessert, please, dessert! Cried the boy as he ran into the room. Well, Upsillimana Tumplerado, first tell me my real name. Your name is Mapacito Jackalindi I Pi Tacarindi. Why, Upsillimano Tumplerado, that's right. Uh-huh. She served her grandson a large square of bread pudding. Tell me, Upsillimano Tumplerado, who told you my name? Oh, Mapacito Jackalindi I Pi Tacarindi, I can't tell you. Why can't you tell me, Upsillimana Tumplerado? I promise not to. Mapacito Jackalindi I Pi Tacarindi. Well then, Upsillimano Tumplerado, I'll find out for myself. Granny put on her large straw hat and went into the village. She stopped in the marketplace and said to the villagers, My grandson came and asked my name. Did you tell it? Who can spell it? The villagers clapped and sang. A long name came and asked your name. So we told him, and it's true. Granny is our name for you. That's not the name my grandson told me, said Granny, and off she went. Granny's search for an answer took her across the field, over the rocks, through the pasture. She asked the same question of all the animals she met along the way. Donkey bawled, haw, haw. Goat bleated, bleah, bleah, bleah. Cow answered, moo, moo, moo. None of that would do. At last, Granny came to the beach. Turtle was sunning himself on the sand out of reach of the waves. She sat down beside him and asked, Turtle, did you teach my name? My grandson says it well. Were you the one who made him promise not to tell? Turtle answered, Yes, I taught your grandson to say your name. I thought it was the thing to do, and now I'll tell it to you too. It's Mapacito Jackalindi I Pi Tacarindi. Granny leaped up and spun with the news. How did you remember my long, long name from so long ago? Asked Granny. Turtle answered, I learned names from the beach, name dances. I remember them well because I take no chances. I swim up and listen though you don't see me. Then I spell your names in shells at the bottom of the sea. Turtle rose up on his short legs and waddled to the water. With a swish, swoosh, he slipped into the sea. Granny waved as Turtle swam out. He dove and disappeared as Granny sang, "Turtle knows your name. Uh-huh. Turtle knows your name." When Granny reached home, her grandson stood at the door with an empty plate. He'd eaten all the bread pudding. "Oh, Mapacito Decalindi, I pie tacarindi," he said. "Now for some sweet potato pie." "Ah, Upsalamana Tumpolorado," said Mapacito Decalindi, I pie tacarindi. "I know who knows our names." They smiled at each other and called out together, "Turtle knows your name." Then Mapacito Decalindi, I pie tacarindi hugged Upsalamano Tumpolorado and cut 2 slices of sweet potato pie. "Thank you, Mapacito Decalindi, I pie tacarindi," said Upsalamano Tumpolorado. "I love your pudding. I love your sweet potato pie." "Well, good, Upsalamano Tumpolorado," said Mapacito Decalindi, I pie tacarindi. "You can thank Turtle for dessert." "Uh-huh, Mapacito Deca!" But before he could finish saying her name, Granny clapped her hand over her grandson's mouth. "Listen," she said. "Promise not to tell anyone else my name. And from now on, just call me Granny and nothing more. Call me Granny the way you did before." Upsalamano Tumpolorado shook his head, and Granny took her hand from his mouth. Granny," he said. "And furthermore," said Granny, "from now on, I'm going to call you son." They burst out laughing and finished the pie. "I love you, Granny." "I love you, son." Full moon. Night on the veranda. Across the bay, village lights sprinkled on hills stripe the dark water. The silver round of the full moon slips into the cloud as a coin slips into a purse. My dad. When my dad blows his silver horn, folks follow the music, dance on in. Not saying nobody else can play sax, but my dad can play sax like nobody else. The artist. I know a man, like a child, he loves to paint. He can paint anything he sets his heart to. He knows that to have anything he loves, he can have it, fair and forever, if he paints a picture of it. He knows that to face anything that hurts, he can do it. Transform the sorrow if he paints a picture of it. This is how he lives. This is what he does. The flower's perfume. Listen, my dear, it's not the way you comb your hair, part it or don't. For when you wear a flower there, no one cares about your tresses or what color your dress is. The flower's perfume fills the air in the room or wherever you are, and its color sings, brightening your eyes. So even in moonlight, I look at you and say, "Good morning." Ancestry. I splash in the ocean. My big brother watches me. We sing, "Wade in the water, wade in the water, children." Mom and Dad teaching us spirituals, reading us African tales, singing songs, telling stories, reminding us of our ancestry. On the beach, other children dig to China. I dig to Africa. The story of lightning and thunder. A long time ago, I mean a long, long time ago, if you wanted to pat lightning or chat with thunder, you could do it. You could. Thunder was a mother sheep, and lightning was her son, a ram. In those days, thunder and lightning didn't live in the sky. They lived right here on Earth. Their home was in a village on the west coast of Alkebu land. Alkebu land, called Africa today. Ma Sheep Thunder and her son lived in the hut where he was born, just east of the marketplace. You'd see them standing by the door of their hut. You could stop for a chat or to pat or just wave as you walked on by. They watched the flow, the come and the go of the people from the country, the people from the town. When they tired of looking one way, they could always turn around. "Use your head, son," Ma Sheep Thunder said. "If things don't work out one way, try another. Hear what I say? I'm your mother." "I hear you, I hear you," said Sun Ram Lightning, and he did in his own way. Ma Sheep Thunder was a good friend of rain. If the farmer's fields needed moisture, Ma Sheep Thunder would go high up onto the nearby mountain to call rain. But often she had to call a long time before rain came. After her son was born, Ma Sheep Thunder taught him to help her call for rain. Then her rumbling voice and the flash of her son's fleece as he raced in the mountain caught Rain's attention at once, and rain came quickly. One season, the farmlands were dry. The king sent for Ma Sheep Thunder and Sun Ram Lightning. He knew that they were Rain's best friends. They could call rain down. It took the two of them. He knew it, and he was proud that they could do it. He said, "Crops are thirsty. Land is dry. Call friend rain down from the sky." Off they went. When they were high up in the mountain, Sun Ram Lightning bolted ahead of his mother. He zigzagged across the slopes, sparks flying from his coat. Ma Sheep Thunder followed, calling, "Ba-ba-lam! Ba-ba-lam!" Suddenly, rain clouds appeared along the path to the mountaintop. When Sun-Ram Lightning saw Friend Rain in the clouds, he flashed a greeting. Marshy Thunder clapped, ba-ba-lam. Friend Rain stepped out of the clouds and fell. The villagers cheered. Their crops were saved. They sang and danced in the rain. It is no wonder that Ma Sheep Thunder and Sun Ram Lightning were the two most honored inhabitants in the kingdom. Children like to pat Sun Ram Lightning's coat and watch the sparks fly. Ma Sheep Thunder stood by chatting while Sun Ram Lightning stood still for the patting. However, he much preferred racing in the mountain, sparks flying, his mother following. One year, Ma Sheep Thunder and Sun Ram Lightning came often at the king's call for rain. The crops were splendid, and there was a great harvest celebration. The king entered the village in a procession led by the drummers. People crowded around him. "Stay right by me," Ma Sheep Thunder said to her son. "Your horns may have grown out, but you're not grown up yet." Sun Ram Lightning wanted to show off his horns to the king. He and his mother were far back in the crowd. While his mother chatted, he hopped and he jumped, but the crowd blocked his view. "If things don't work out one way, try another," he said, remembering his mother's words. "Use your head." He lowered his head, pawed the ground, parum, 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 and charged. With a biff, bam, butt, he sent people flying or falling to both sides. It got him to the head of the crowd. It did. He stopped before the king. "What a hard head!" cried the king. "What horns!" "And they're not all grown out yet," said Sun Ram Lightning. "You boast," said the king. "It is an outrage at your age to go on such a rampage." "I used my head, as I heard Ma say. With a biff, bam, butt, I cleared the way." "There is a better way, son, to use your head," said Ma Sheep Thunder. "Whatever you do, no more biff, bam, butts out of you." "There is a proverb," the king said. "A frisky child knocks his face against the rock." "Bad ways will get you into trouble. My people are no rock for your son to knock. To protect them, I must move you from the center of the village to the edge of town." After they moved, Ma Sheep Thunder kept a close watch on Sun Ram Lightning, especially when they went to market. For a good while, she kept him out of trouble. One very hot day, they set out for the village market. It was a long walk. When they arrived in the marketplace, Sun Ram Lightning was hungry. "We'll eat soon," his mother said. She stopped to chat with a friend who made straw baskets and straw hats. As she chatted, she soon forgot about food, and she forgot about her son. Sun Ram Lightning waited. He grew hungrier and hungrier. Leaning over, he licked a basket. "Tasty straw," he thought. He tried another. He licked his way down the line of baskets. Then he started on the straw hats. His teeth nicked a brim. "A tasty hat," he said. He took a bite. It stirred his appetite. Yum! A delight! He began munching and crunching the straw hat. He was so hungry, he devoured it and started on another. Sunram Lightning didn't notice that this hat was at the bottom of a pile. A few bites into it, and a mountain of straw hats came tumbling down around him. "Eh!" cried the straw maker when she turned and saw what was happening. Sunram Lightning was surprised to find himself in a sea of hats. The straw maker raised her broom to strike. Sunram Lightning shook free of the hats. He lowered his head and pawed the ground. Parum, parum, parum. "Stop!" cried Ma Sheep Thunder. Whether her stop was for the straw maker or for her son, it didn't stop either one of them. Sunram Lightning charged. A wham, biff, bam! His head split the broom and spilled the straw maker. She landed crunch on 5 straw baskets. Ma Sheep Thunder helped the straw maker to her feet. She apologized to her friend as she hurried her son away from the scene. "Didn't I tell you no more biff bam butts?" she said. "That was no biff bam butt," said Sunram Lightning. "That was my wham biff bam. I saw that broom coming. I couldn't dodge it, so I charged it. I used my head, just as you said." "There is a better way for you to use your head, son," his mother said. "Whatever you do, no more wham, biff, bam out of you." When the incident was reported to the king, he sent for the mother sheep and her son ram. "You're good for rain," he said, "but I'll have to move you once again, even further away than before. We're already at the edge of town," said Ma Sheep Thunder. "How much farther can we go?" "I'll move you beyond the village," said the king, "past farmlands and fields to the center of the forest." "From the center of the village to the center of the forest," sighed Ma Sheep Thunder. Their new home was a long way off. Ma Sheep Thunder missed the chatting. Sunram Lightning didn't miss standing still for the patting. He was free now to skip and bound in the forest. His mother didn't have to follow him about all the time. He felt grown up. He could come and go now all by himself. One morning, Sunram Lightning went out to play. "Remember now, don't go too far away," said his mother. After a few bounces and bounds around the hut, he began to bite berries on the bushes nearby. Before he knew it, he had nibbled his way to the edge of the forest. He looked up. There was Ox eating the vegetables in the field. Sunram Lightning knew he was not to leave the forest without his mother. Still, he wanted to save the farmer's crop. "Ma says no biff bam buts," he thought, "and no wham biff bams either. I'll just biff bop him. That will stop him. Everyone will thank me." Sunram Lightning pawed the ground. Param, param, param. He lowered his head and charged. Biff, bop! He struck Ox from behind. Ox reared up and cried, "Meow!" He spun around and came down facing Sunram Lightning. One look at Ox, and Ram's charge plan changed. He turned and took off. Sun Ram Lightning ran so swiftly that sparks showered from his coat. The sparks caught among the dry leaves. In a short while, flames had consumed more of the farmer's crop than Ox could have eaten in a whole day. Ox stopped and backed up before the flames. Sunram Lightning entered the forest. He slowed down when he saw that Ox no longer followed. By now, the villagers had reached the edge of the field. Drummers drummed the fire signal as the villagers cried, "Who fires the field fires food. Friends of rain should do us good." Ma Sheep Thunder smelled the smoke and heard the commotion. She ran out of her hut and caught up with her son. "To the mountain, to the mountain," she cried. "Ba, balam, ba, balam." She called Friend Rain as her son streaked ahead. Before they reached the top of the mountain, Friend Rain had seen the light flashes and heard the call. Rain came and poured down on the fields until the fires were out. There was no dancing or cheering in the village this time. A solemn group of villagers stood behind the king as Ma Sheep Thunder and Sun Ram Lightning entered the village. "I've heard the cry of my people," the king said. "They no longer feel safe with you living on earth amongst them. Even when your son tries to help, he hurts. From now on, you are banished from my kingdom and from the earth. Your home will be far away from us all, beyond our call in the sky." Ma Sheep Thunder and Sun Ram Lightning obeyed the wishes of the king and his people. They returned to the mountain. When they reached the mountain top, they kept on going. They followed the path that clouds take when they come down from the sky to the mountain. Farther and farther along the path they went. At last, they reached their new home in the sky. That is where they live to this day. Every now and then, Sun Ram Lightning gets away from home. He does. And he still causes trouble. He streaks back to Earth and strikes anything in his path. His mother runs after him, her rumbling voice calling him back. Sometimes Ma Sheep Thunder is so far behind that we can hardly hear her voice. Sun Ram Lightning hears her though, but he doesn't always listen. I know somebody like that too. I do. But I'm not saying who. Beaded braids. After the brilliance of carnival and sun, eyes ease, close on shadows of rain. The braided, beaded lady restores soul color, reminding me of photographs in family albums, patchwork pages of old friends, ancestral guardians. The braided, beaded lady smiles. Colors glow through quiet grays. Remarkable. Pretty is When I say the painting of the flower is pretty, the word pretty can't compare to the flower, nor even to the picture of the flower. When I say the painting of the flower is pretty, pretty is how good I feel when I see it and say it. Mama's bouquets. Sun every day, heat year-round. Mama sang as she clipped flowers in the garden, surprising butterflies and hummingbirds each day. Mama's bouquets in every room, sweet and bright in the air. Wherever we looked, flowers, indoors and out, always. We are grown and gone. Our rooms are silent. Still, Mama sings as she gathers flowers, surprising butterflies and hummingbirds each day. We say, "Save your strength, Ma." We ask, who sees bouquets in empty rooms? Mama says, God is here always with the flowers and my song each day when you are gone. Leaving. There is always a certain sadness to it. Leaving, hoping to return. The plane rising above the tropical island. Mama at the gate fence, looking up, waving. The plane disappears.
You have been enjoying an audio bookshelf production of Ashley Bryan performing his poems and folk tales. For more information about this or any other audio bookshelf production, please write to Audio Bookshelf, RR1, Box 706, Belfast, Maine, 04915, or call 1-800-234-1713.
All poems recorded in this production are from Sing to the Sun, copyright 1992 by Ashley Bryan, and recorded by permission of HarperCollins Publishers, Inc., 10 East 53rd Street, New York, New York, 10022. Anansi the Spider in Search of a Fool, copyright 1971 by Ashley Bryan, is from The Ox of the Wonderful Horns and Other African Folk Tales, retold by Ashley Bryan. The Cat's Purr is copyrighted 1985 by Ashley Bryan. Turtle Knows Your Name is from Turtle Knows Your Name, retold by Ashley Bryan and copyrighted 1989 by Ashley Bryan. The Story of Lightning and Thunder is copyrighted 1993 by Ashley Bryan. The four folk tales, Anansi the Spider in Search of a Fool, The Cat's Purr, Turtle Knows Your Name, and The Story of Lightning and Thunder, are recorded with permission of Athenaeum Books for Young Readers, an imprint of Simon & Schuster Children's Publishing Division.